Yo, what's going on, you guys? This is Day1, and I'm going to be giving you guys my first ever Godfall build video. Now, not only is this going to be the first Godfall build video, but this is also going to be my first PC video that I've done. I used to make videos on PC, but it's been such a long time, I kind of already forgot how to edit and everything, so I'm just going to do this all in one take. But anyways, we're just going to go ahead and go over the build. So this is a build for Greyhawk. He is one of the first few characters you might want to end up unlocking because of how insanely powerful this character is. He is a Soul Shatter type of character. So what I mean by Soul Shatter is he builds up Soul Shatter faster than anyone else, basically, because he has a 10% base Soul Shatter build up. And then when you use your Archon Fury, you can go up to 100%. I think it will actually go up to 110%. I think it just adds an additional 100%. But anyways, this character is extremely powerful when it comes to both regular enemies and bosses. He's just a very powerful character. So the abilities and gears that I'm using is going to be, I'm using the dual blades. The storm flares is basically what it is, the legendary dual blades. It says, while inner focus is active, apply soul shatter buildup to nearby enemies and all of your attacks that deal soul shatter damage. That, I mean, it definitely makes the build a lot stronger, because what this basically does is, you know how in with soul shattering, you'll see on the red bar of the health bar of the enemies, it'll show up a white bar on it, and then you obviously have to do a heavy attack or the southern attack. Well, I guess it would be called Southern Technique. You don't really need to do Southern Technique. You need to do a heavy attack in order to break that white bar just to take their health out. Now with the Storm Flares, it basically takes out the whole soul shattering thing, and it technically gives you the amount of damage you would normally already do with soul shattering implemented already on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you right here. So the only way you would actually be able to activate it is if you use inner focus. So inner focus, it's gonna be your technique, and it has to be the northern technique. So if you're on PC, it's gonna be E and left click. And now you're gonna see this blue ring around me. So you see how this enemy has a white bar on him? It's building up. And all you gotta do is just hit once. Or you could just keep spamming if you want to basically just burn enemies down a lot faster. So that's basically how inner focus works with the storm flares. So you just activate it and you can just start spamming, and it'll just do insane amounts of damage, DPS, to a lot of different enemies. Next is going to be the Darkstar Crusher. The reason why I'm using Darkstar Crusher is because it's like a prism. It's a trap. It's an opener, I guess, what I want to call it, for damage. I think it's like 15 seconds is how long it lasts, but it's a 2-minute cooldown. And what's nice is it slows the enemies down by 30%, but it's like it basically freezes them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you right here. It spawns a giant bubble, and as you can see, he's moving, but he's moving very, very, very slowly. And it just allows you to open up for so much damage, because they also swing very, very slowly as well. Next, I have a Brother's Promise. So Brother's Promise is going to allow you to summon spirit allies whenever you soul shatter an enemy. So it works hand in hand with Storm Flares as well, because this basically already does, it's a soul shattering ability or weapon. So you activate your Storm Flares, and then you have a Brother's Promise. So you have an 18% chance, basically, with each swing, to spawn a spirit warrior. Next is going to be Lunar Token. The reason why I went with Lunar Token is because it just gives you 7% crit chance, and then I upgraded it up to Legendary, and I got super lucky with the rolls I wanted, or rolls I ended up getting on the secondary. It gave me 5% crit chance, and then 12% Rampage damage, which is extremely good. For those of you that don't know, Rampage it's going to enhance your damage or your DPS by so much, and then Weapon Technique damage by 20%. So all three of those secondary perks is really good for this charm. And then also Lunar Token comes with Might, so that's going to be really good. Now obviously if I can get a level 50 version of this, that would be even better. Next, I have the Ancestral Band. Primary, when you hit a weak point, gain 2% Archon Fury Charge and 38% Archon Fury Charge speed for 10 seconds. This is going to be really good because you want to be able to activate your Soul Shatter Archon ability as much as possible. Because the more Soul Shattering you can do, the more damage, the more DPS you'll do, the faster you'll clear a bunch of enemies. Especially if you're doing the Tower of Trials or Tower of Trials, I think that's what it's called. If you're doing that, the level 50 version, you'll realize how much damage you'll end up actually needing in order to actually burn a lot of enemies. Not only that, but it's going to also be really good if you have enough breach damage as well. So having a Warhammer in general is going to be good just for that, because of the fact that a Warhammer or a two-handed greatsword is going to be really good for breach damage. The other ring I have is called Journeyman's Mark. The only reason why I'm using this is because it has might, weapon technique damage on the primary, weapon technique damage on the secondary, and then, I mean, I don't care for the polearm because I'm not using polearm. But those are two really good stats. Plus, I don't really have any other rings that are as useful at the moment. Well, yeah, no, I don't have any other rings that are useful at the moment. Next is going to be the Archons Tier. So Archons Tier is probably the best lifestone. In my opinion, it is hands down the best lifestone to use on any character, pretty much, because you're getting an increase of 32% crit chance and 128% crit damage. This is a level 38 version as well. I have three others. This one at level 40, so you can see it's at 132% and 124, I guess. I guess they fluctuate. Maybe it's like 120 to 130% in general for crit damage. Like this one's at level 48, 34% crit chance and 130% crit damage. This one is 30% crit chance and 114 crit damage. But regardless, I mean, you're over 100 crit damage. That's doubling the crit damage that or not doubling, but you know, it's 100% more. And then a 30% crit chance is always good, because you'll generally be around 20% crit chance at the minimum, most likely, and adding that extra 30 will push you to 50% crit chance. So this is what I'm looking at right now. For my base stats, it's 32 crit chance, 200 crit damage, and 110 weak point. But with this, all you're going to do is you're just going to activate this basically when you have your buffs ready, or if you need a heal, because it's like your potion. But realistically, if you want to put out the most amount of damage on an enemy, you would normally just go in, use the Darkstar Crusher, just to activate that trap or the bubble, and then build up your Storm Flares to give you enough charges so you can activate your Inner Focus. You do that, you can activate your Archon Fury, pop the Life Stone. You're gonna be doing massive amounts of damage. Like I was in the level 50 tower, I was doing around like 10,000 to 20,000 damage per swing, and the highest I ended up hitting was a 53k, which again is freaking insane, especially with daggers. 53,000 damage with daggers. I mean, then again, that was only one hit, but that's also because the Shatter, like I said, the blue ring from the Storm Flares, it still makes the enemies, what is it called? I was going to say stagger bar. The Soul Shatter bar, the Soul bar, it still gets built up, and all you do is just swing at it. So that's probably why I ended up doing 53k, plus all those extra buffs. And then you also have your banner. So the banner I'm using is giving me 34% weapon damage, 10% crit chance, and 21% weapon technique damage with 23 overhealth. So you can either go with that, or you can probably just go with one that gives you health back when you hit, which is also really good, the Vampiric Pennant. I did have one, but I accidentally salvaged it. No, I have this one, but this one has water damage. But yeah, no, I had one that had better stats than this one. I think it was like a level 36 version or something, but it's really good. I ended up, like I said, salvaging it. But yeah, you can go with either or. The extra damage, which is really good, or if you want to have more survivability, then have the Vampiric Pennant is going to be really good. But yeah, now that all the gear is done with, we're going to go ahead and look at the augments. So obviously this is going to be, if you're level 50, you're going to have all the augments unlocked, augment slots. If you're not level 50, you can still use the same augments, just, you know, pick and choose which ones you want to use. So the first one I have is called Fiery Conviction. Primary, gain 1 Lifestone charge whenever you activate Archon Fury if adjacent augments grant at least 300 spirit. So I actually might need to replace this because the adjacent slots is only in here. So what would be best is if you have like if this was a purple slot or gold, you want to basically have the adjacent slots are basically the ones that are labeled. So this probably wouldn't be the best idea, but if you can get to 150 spirit, this would definitely be the best idea. I would definitely replace it though if you don't have it, because it's not going to activate. But the extra spirit that it gives you is good. The secondary, if it's good, it's good. The next augment I'm using is called Destruction, 126 smite that I'm getting from it, and it gives me 26% weapon technique damage. This one seems to always come with technique damage, and it's always a really high amount, so that's why I stuck with this. The technique damage is going to come in handy. Come in hand. So next is going to be the Endurance. So it says adjacent augments grant an additional 70% vitality. So again, it's only going to work if adjacent augments grant an additional. Yeah, so this is already working because this one's an adjacent augment. But yeah, this is going to be really good so you can have more health as well. And then I'm using Sacred Flame. Adjacent augments grant an additional 65% might. So you get whatever, I guess, that's slotted, gives you the extra 65% might in total. Paradise. Primary 18% weapon technique charge speed for 10 seconds whenever you perform a crit hit. So I'm always performing crit hits. That way, I'm actually going to be able to build up my weapon technique charge a lot faster because every 10 seconds, because I'm pretty much always critting no matter what. Evisceration, gain the blessing of power whenever you perform a crit hit. So for those of you that don't know, blessing of power says increases damage dealt. And I think it said I have greater. It's a greater version. Oh no, it's just a blessing of power. So yeah, it's just a blessing of power. I'm getting more damage. I don't know how much of an increase in damage I'm getting from this, but just know it is extra damage. The next one, Innervation. Extend the duration of Archon Fury by 1 second whenever you defeat an enemy. You're going to be killing enemies so fast, especially if it's a bunch of grouped up enemies. You're going to be killing them so fast when you use your Archon Fury that you'll probably build up to like an extra 6 seconds. Well, obviously it depends on how many enemies you've killed within a certain amount of time. Next is going to be the Lion's Pride. Gain 35 overhealth whenever you defeat an enemy. So this is one of the few ways you're going to have to be able to survive, because you don't have any real way of healing yourself. There is daggers that can heal you, a 4% chance to heal you, or to apply a mark, I think it's called Mark of Leech. And what that does is it's going to allow you to heal yourself whenever you hit them when they are marked. But since we're not using that because we're using the better daggers, or better dual blades, this is probably one of the better ways of being able to heal yourself, because you just get consistent kills and you start healing yourself a little bit over and over and over. And then Lucid Vision. Primary, restore 55 health whenever you hit an enemy with your shield. That's another way that you can heal yourself. There might be other ways. I don't know, because I mean, like, you have this 143 overhealth whenever you use a Lifestone, but I'm not too worried about that. 341 health whenever you place your banner. That could also be an option. If you tend to place your banner down a lot, then obviously you can use this. I mean, I should probably use it anyways because it is really good to use. But yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you what I spec'd into for skills. So I am level 50, and I also did most of my my Dreamstone missions, so that's why I have extra skill points. But anyways, I went with 4 points into weapon technique. I didn't worry about the 5th level because it's just the weapon charge speed or weapon technique charge speed. So I just said whatever, I don't really care. I just wanted to at least get the weapon damage, so I'm at 25% for the weapon technique damage just from this alone. Next I went Soul Shatter because obviously it's a soul shattering character. So obviously you want to try to max out as much as you can. You don't need the 5th level one because all it does is it's going to it's going to send out a shockwave to nearby enemies. So it is nice because it still applies the soul shatter on the enemy, a soul shatter buildup on nearby enemies. But it is a smaller radius. It's not a massive or too small of a radius, but it's not like they have to be somewhat close to each other though. Next, I just maxed out vitality. Obviously, it's a stat. You want to try to max those out whenever you can. You don't have to if you're starting out. You don't have to focus on maxing out all these stats. But you know, once you hit level 50, obviously it's something you're gonna want to do. Crit chance. I maxed out crit chance. Obviously, the reason why you want to get the level 5 of the crit chance is because Greater Blessing of Luck increases the amount of crit chances you get the amount of crit chance you get. So I have a 10% chance to gain Greater Blessing of Luck whenever I perform a crit chance or a crit hit. So this is going to be really, really good. And obviously you're not going to be able to get Blessing of Luck anymore because you can already get Greater Blessing of Luck. So this isn't going to matter anymore. Next I have Archon Fury. So Archon Fury, I would prefer to get all 5 maxed out, but there's just other points I needed to invest in first before I ended up getting the last one. So I wouldn't worry too much about the 5th level, but it is going to be nice to have it because it's just charging up 10% faster. But yeah. Next is going to be the crit damage. Obviously you want to max this out. Same thing with crit chance with the Mark of Blessing. Mark of Fragility is going to allow you to put out more crits. And then you want to max out your might as well. And then for Rampage, I just put 1 point into Rampage at the moment. I do want to max this out because Rampage is super, super good. But the thing is, it's only a 10% difference between the damage, which, I mean, I guess could still make or break. And then you get a 25% duration. The charge speed isn't really, you don't really notice it because it's already a really fast charge speed when you're using daggers. Now, if you're using something else like a two-handed weapon, then yeah, you might want to obviously invest with the charge speed. And then, so I have ailments, but the only reason why is because I use it for a different character. You don't have to spec into ailments if you're only using Greyhawk at the moment. Don't even worry about putting any points into ailment. Which you would actually rather put is polarity attacks. So the reason why you want to get 1 point into polarity attack is because it's a little more useful than what ailments is going to offer you, and you only need to put 1 point into it. You don't have to invest into it. You're only using it as a bridge to get to breach. So you want to unlock breach and get it all the way to the 4th level. The 5th level is going to be nice, but the only thing is it's only going to affect the last, or it's only going to affect one hit, your one heavy charged attack, but it's increasing at double the amount of damage, which is still really good. That 5th level would only be useful for someone that's mainly using like a Warhammer or using Armistice or something, someone who already has a high amount of breach damage, because that also, the heavy charged heavy attack would affect your breach damage as well. And then I went with all stats, so this way I can actually get everything maxed out. And then you put a point into finesse. Finesse is a very, very, very clutch like ability because it lets you slide around while you're evading. And then I have weak point, just put 1 point first, and then you want to max out spirit, and then start putting points into weak point whenever you can. But yeah, that's pretty much it with all the builds and everything, or all the abilities, augments, and gear on this character. Like I said, I am level 50 on my playthrough, so you're not. Some of you might be level 50, some of you might be 30, some of you might just be starting. But I like this. This is just basically a, I guess, a blueprint of what you want to go for. Unfortunately, I can't really show you gameplay of the tower because I can't edit any of it yet, so I can't just throw that in the mix. But I will show you like the rotation I end up going with whenever I do go against bosses or elites and whatnot. So I always put my hammer on first, and as you can see, the hammer it automatically builds up its technique, so you don't have to worry about getting hits or anything. Let me just go here actually. So what I normally do is I run in, and then I'll use either, if you use the northern technique, which is your left click or your light attack, then it's gonna apply the soul, what is it called, the soul shatter on the enemy, or you could just right click. You can do heavy attack on the enemy, making it to where it actually does damage, and it's a nice giant AoE, ranged AoE. So you can just go here, and then I switch to the dual daggers, and then I start wailing on the enemies just to build up. Let me just go in here so you can see that. So just pretend I ended up hitting a boss, and then I'll use the charge, boom, and if they're far away from me, sometimes I'll just pull them closer and just start wailing on them, easy. Now what I would recommend is just use the light attacks, because the light attacks are faster, resulting in more DPS. If you use the heavy attack, it's not going to be good for you because of the fact that the heavy attack is slower and it's basically doing the same amount of damage. So I'm going to show you right here. Whoops, alright, I didn't mean to do that. Alright, so 1.4k, 941, 941. So yeah, you're going to just put out way more damage using the light attacks. Now obviously if you don't have any technique and you're not using that, you're going to want to mix it up. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. If this helped you guys out, please go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section as well, and I will try my best to help you guys out to the best of my ability. And so maybe in the future, or not maybe, in the future, I will end up making like a better edited videos and stuff. I'm just making this video all in one take and then just throwing it out on YouTube. But yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. If it did, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section. I will try my best to help you guys out. Yeah, and I also have other builds that I'm going to be making, or I have other builds already made, but I want to make sure they're perfected. Like I have my curse build, I have my tank build, and I think that's it so far. Everyone else I have a build for, but it's not done. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. This is all day to day one. Have a good day, good night, and peace.